wait for the notification. And I believe we are live. Hello everyone and welcome to the Gavra Racing Freshman League, coming live to you from Bahrain, joined by 2008, your Tigers co-commentator from yesterday, and the one and only
X-Nothing G. Hello guys, you've probably seen me or heard me from the GT Sport League, but I'm here now commentating the Freshman League with 2 and if it's anything like last season's Freshman League, then well, it's going to be a really interesting season.
Yeah, certainly. Natty, obviously a race winner from last season, the Freshman League. Colin Campion was your season champion. He is no longer with us in the Freshman League, however he has moved up into higher things in the Super League now, coming to you on Thursday from Albert Park in Australia. Nevertheless though, we've got Ellison currently out and out, no driver on the flying lap at the moment apart from Al Bagubreath. I think Natty, you remember him from the Weekend League.
Yeah, Bahrain, one of the Weekend League drivers, was my former teammate and a pretty solid driver, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do tonight. A few of the drivers though on mediums, and Pamela one of them, but also Bahrain on the mediums. But in terms of strategy, it's a 50% race, so I think starting on the mediums will give a lot of the drivers that strategic advantage. Obviously, I think the best strategy is probably the one stop from the mediums to the hards. So it'll be interesting to see what times people do on the harder compounds.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's going to be very interesting to see which driver can make which strategy work. We've got our Bagubreath actually on the lap now, coming through to the second DRS zone now. He's going to make his way down towards turn 10, and then now you have the track map up right now. She should be able to tell us which corner these are coming up.
Yeah, approaching, so coming through turn 12 now, a little bit wide, and he's done.
Oh, a big spin!
And yes, spinning at turn 12, just went a little bit wide and then turned in a little bit too sharply on corner 8 that spanned his car round, and it's gone up the way nicely for, I believe that's Ace Sabo, who's also spanned at the same corner, so two drivers struggling a little bit there.
Yeah, and both invalidating their laps there, unfortunately. There's obviously track limits in this game, again, as I said yesterday, something that Codemasters definitely seems to have upped the ante on a bit, but Willie Sang can now go, oh, and that's G Bates spinning again at turn 12. Well, last year, Natty Drive seemed to have a massive problem with turn 12 around this track. Looks like some things never change as Infamela now goes to the pole. 8 seconds faster than Willie Sanker at the moment, and he's had another spin at turn 2 as well. Don't remember guys, though, a pole in the Academy yesterday was about 26 point something, I believe. Got Ellison now on the lap as well. Let's see if we can go, but Victor goes to the pole now, 28.6. More on the pace so far at the moment. Infamela has done that time on the medium server. Ellison comes to the line. It's a 39.9, puts him in 5th, but how representative is that of their true pace? Sabo the Mister, who's your 3rd place driver in the Premier Series last season, goes into 3rd with a 29.3. Hampton over splits those two in a 29.0, so time's dropping all the time here. As Absolute 11 now goes to the pole with 26.2, and there's a massive gap back there now.
Yeah, 2.4 seconds in the gap between Absolute and Victor. But it's a decent lap from Sabo the Mister. He's on the medium tyres. He's only a few tenths behind Victor in second, so whether he'll go up for another run on those mediums or whether he'll come out later on softs, we'll just have to wait and see as Vinch moves his way up into 4th place. He was originally in the Weekend League last season as well, so we'll have to see what he does as well in the freshman.
Yeah, I think crucially here we're also seeing a lot of drivers going out on the soft tyre, on the medium tyre even, but these first laps they're getting themselves, psyched up a little bit, getting used to the track, getting used to the corners, the layout, and let's see what they can do in the latter half of this qualifying session, which we are rapidly approaching. Only an 18-minute qualifying, but we do have a 50% race view here today, so double the length of the Academy race yesterday, and if you haven't seen that Academy race yesterday, I strongly urge you to go and watch it. Another spinner, and Jitsi Kev is out of the session. That is surprising.
Just caught the end of that. Got on the curb a little bit through turn 12 and then hit the barrier on the inside and that, flying his car back over into kind of almost onto the racing line-ish through turn 12. So that car gets removed from the track. It shouldn't be an issue for too many of the drivers.
But really look at Alex got a Mac though now coming through turn 13. He seems to want to fly lap as well on those medium tyres. He's had a fairly decent middle sector, only a 10th down on his personal best time. So a little bit of time to find if Alex got a Mac. Can he make it up through this final corner? Through the final corner now, short shifts to 4th for the traction. He's going to come to the line, open the DRS. He's nearly out of ERS. Across the line, it's a 31.5, so it doesn't improve on his lap time or position now. Unlucky if Alex got a Mac. In the frankly beautiful black Mercedes, that is my favourite car on the grid.
Yeah, there's a few drivers who currently haven't set a lap. One of them being Triple O and Ace to Sab and RCA all in the pits, but Triple O's actually just speaking of him coming out of the pits now.
As is Ace to Sabo and RCA, Natty. So I think they've heard you. They've heard you, Natty. Hello to everyone in the chat as well. Yes, we did get it working, Thunder. So this is about 10 minutes late, guys. Sorry about that. We had a few issues with the Twitch before. A podium prediction, Natty. Well, you and Tiger both put Jutsikev as your champion for this series. Currently down in 15th and won't be taking any further part in qualifying due to that retirement. So when I say we don't get much right on the podcast, that might come true again, but I'm sure Jitsy's going to go out and prove us wrong. If you're wondering what I was talking about in regards to the podcast, we do have a Gavra Racing podcast in episode 13 or episode 13 was just released earlier today. You can find all of that on the YouTube channel. However, Alex Gunnar Mac found 4 tenths in the first sector now, but he's lost 5 tenths over the course of his middle sector. He's going to come down to the final sector now. These medium tyres have already done 2 laps. Higher tyre wear here around Bahrain than on most tracks, so you probably won't be wanting to start the race on those tyres, but he pulls up into the pits anyway. So you have Hampton now on a slow lap as well. Let's go on board with, I believe this is Ace to Sabo here, as he starts his lap. So coming across the line now, riding on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. Over the line now, let's have a commentated lap here down the straight, in towards turn 1. A little bit of yellow flags on the main straight, brake at the 100 before 100 meter board. Oh, he's locked up there and slightly missed the apex. Gets hooked up through turn 2 though, then flat out through turn 3, up the hill now, DRS, looking for the 100 meter board and those weird little tyre braking boards, open up the corner, down into 3rd, clip the apex, back on the power, down to 2nd even, Ace to Sabo. That's a very unconventional line he's taken there out of that corner. Done the fastest first sector of anyone though, a 28.4, so that unconventional line seems to be working for the Alfa Romeo. Again misses the apex though down there in turn 7, oh, he's got massive oversteer. I believe we might see him back out of a lap now, but we'll have to wait and see. I saw an alert at the bottom of my screen. I don't know if you have that, Natty. You keep saying Infamella's on the fastest lap on the 1 minute 30.
I used to have that, and then one thing is, it's just glitched as well. But I've been riding on board here with RCA, who's an even quicker first sector than Ace to Sabo. Seems to be gaining on these Alfa Romeo teammate. Be interesting to see what sector 2 sets the fastest sector 2.
Could be a good lap from RCA.
He's going to have the slipstream from his teammate, but what is his teammate hampering in the final corner? Have to wait and see. Doesn't appear to be getting in the way too much. It's going to be a nice little bit of slipstream, a little bit close between the two, but he pulls off to the side. And the run up to the line is open with DRS, and it's
26.4. 2 tenths behind Absolute, so we could have another close contest here for pole position. I think Ace to Sabo definitely helped out RC8 there, giving a little bit of a tow down the back straight, but Absolute will be looking to respond to that time very quickly, I'm sure. He's currently out on track and on the lap. He's a 10th up on his personal best time through the first sector. That's a 10th up on the fastest time as well. Going to come through into the turn 11, or turn 10 I believe this is, through turn 11 now and up to turn 12, also known as Death Corner, as many of the drivers have found out already. Coming through the middle sector now, he's nearly 2 tenths up, Natty. This could be a lap time in the 25s.
Yeah, it's been a really clean lap so far from the Red Bull driver. Just have to wait and see what type of time he does as he approaches the final corner, hits the apex. Doesn't run too wide, but as he opens the DRS up to the line.
25.7!
Improved by 5 tenths, so a really quick lap from Absolute.
What a lap that was by Absolute 11. Very, very well done. Take a bow. 25.7 puts himself 7 tenths ahead of the next fastest car. This lot seems to be a little bit more spread out than the Academy was yesterday, but Vinju? has gone into third place, no 27.5, managed to find 1.6 seconds on his lap, gets out of the way of his teammate Dazza there as well.
And yeah, Tinturi, the only one who is still on the medium tyres. He's done 5 laps on those mediums, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to find much, not too much more pace on those tyres. It's quite a high tyre wearing track this, but all the drivers outside the top 10 is going to have that free choice of tyre, so strategy could definitely change things. As we see, the entire top 10 are on the softs, so we'll just have to wait and see how much strategy can change things.
Yeah, exactly, Nat. He's going to have to obviously wait and see how each strategic option plays out during the race. I think Sabo's just completed his particular qualifying. I've got 40 people watching, guys. Thank you for tuning into the Freshman League. I think we have a lot of fans here from last season as well. Probably one of the more eventful championships, which Natty, obviously you run a race in. So just tell our viewers, what does it take to win a race in this championship?
Yeah, it's a very competitive field. All the drivers really close to one another, and it's just about trying to find a consistency and a bit of the rhythm, although I did disconnect a fair few times from many of my races, so they're completely lost in the rhythm. But if you find a good rhythm and a good consistency, then yeah, these drivers should do well. And obviously my win from Austria was a little bit helped by other people battling further down the grid, but yeah, so if these drivers can keep it clean and consistent across the 28 or so laps here at Bahrain, then it should put them in a good chance of winning the race.
Yeah, and just to distract you from that for a sec, Natty Bruzzi coming through the middle sector now is 3/10 up on his time, so we could see a time in the mid to high 27s from the McLaren driver. Currently sat in 7th place, improving on his lap. The only driver doing so at the moment, I believe, got yellows in sector 3, his McLaren teammate there at turn 3, potentially having a little spin, but Bruzzi's going to come to the line now. Well, again, nearly out of the DRS. Seems to be a massive problem for the drivers there. So 27.9 does improve his position by 1 place and puts himself up into 6th. But one driver who I'm surprised has not gone out again is Sabo the Mister. Currently sat out in 12th, qualified on the medium tyres so far. And as I say that, I believe he's just come out on the softs.
Once again, another driver coming out the pits as soon as we're talking about them.
Yeah, it's Sabo.
Sabo the Mixter, a quick driver, finished third in the Premier Series from last season, so it's going to be interesting to see where he finishes this season in the Freshman League.
And one thing I've just noticed, Natty, is he seems to have a lot of teammates working together. The two Alpha Tauri drivers now out lying astern as well of Tonios and Victor. So we could see some more slipstreaming going on here between these two. Perhaps Tonios giving his teammate the advantage down the straight that he needs to climb up the order.
Yeah, definitely, and well, we saw it with the Alfa Romeos, but you don't want to follow your teammate too closely, especially in the middle sector, because obviously the drivers will get quite a bit of dirty air, but especially for the 4 straights on this track, if you can get 1 or 2 of them with the slipstream, then it's definitely going to help in terms of lap time.
Yeah, certainly, and hello to everyone in the chat as well. Hi Dutchy, nice to see you back. Charles Leclerc joining us from Colombia again. Nice to see you back. Dan Schneider, Super League driver this season. Nice to see you as well. Dutchy, Natty saying you need to put your volume up.
I'm on it.
Nice to see you too as well. Holland Campion, your previous champion of the Freshman League. But now let's get back to qualifying out here on track. Then is Vinju. Currently not on a lap that's going to see him improving. We've got RC8 also on a qualifying out lap. I'm going to scroll down here to Ace to Sabo. He was our first driver to cross the line, I believe. He's 2/10 up in the first sector, and he's done the fastest first sector of anyone. So this could be a good lap from Ace to Sabo. That's right on board with him. Gets everything lovely and hooked up this time for turn 6. Or turn 7 even, and now we come into turns 8 and 9 in the hard braking zone and very tricky, easy to lock up the front left. Doesn't do so, however. Short shifts through to 5th gear now. He's got the traction, coming down the back straight. Second DRS zone around here, second of 3. Through turns 10 now, up the hill, through turn 11. Let's hook it up for turn 12, 7th gear, flat out here. Look at the downforce these cars have. He's 1.8 seconds up on his personal best. He's done the fastest second sector of anyone as well. Can he beat Absolute and knock him off pole here with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go in qualifying? Absolute running out of time here to do another lap. I don't think he's going to get another run in. It's going to be Ace to Sabo now. He's going to bring it to the line. Like the DRS open. Then he runs out of DRS again. So they come to the line now. It's a 27.6 that goes up into 5th position, but lost a lot of time there in comparison to Absolute's seemingly world-beating lap at the moment.
Yeah, and speaking of Absolute, I've just noticed a poll has just ended in the chat of who will get pole position, and 100% said Absolute 11. So there's a pretty dominant response in that poll. So Absolute currently in pole by about 7/10. So it's a really quick lap from him, a 25.7 compared to the rest of the guys. So he's probably one to watch in this race.
Definitely, as Daza does manage to improve his lap time, but unfortunately not his position, as they've got Tunchuri Perina, who's 2/10 up on his fastest lap time, Super driver from last year. Through the final corner now, down into 4th gear, he's going to accelerate out to the line, nearly runs out of VRS again. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it keeps happening. To the line now, so 29.1, goes up into 14th, and does manage to improve his lap time there. As McLaren of Brizzy now also stays in 8th position, looking for the Mercedes of Triple O coming around the final corner. Very impressive qualifying from Triple O so far, actually. Got up into 4th place, so another prospect potentially for the win here if one of the front runners makes a mistake. Sorry?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, Ace to Sabo looked like he was coming to the pits, and he's just missed out on the line, actually, so Ace to Sabo won't be getting in another lap. A few drivers, though, decided to stay into the pits. Sabo missed being one of them. He's tried to qualify on the mediums, but it doesn't look like it's worked out too as well as he planned.
Oh, well, look at Alexander Mack here, though, Natty. He's 6/10 up on his lap. It's going to catapult himself up the order to 28.2. Goes into 10th place of the Mercedes team. Much better qualifying than Alexander Mack and the two Mercedes boys. This team did not have a lot of luck last time out in the Freshman League. If you remember from last year, Pepelec and Joe XX seem to be hit with bad luck at every turn, but Tonio's not driving him actually very impressive. Nat, he joined late, put his car in 8th, and manages to out-qualify his teammate on the first go of it.
Yeah, and Edison there just got disqualified for going the wrong way, so he'll be starting from the back of the grid. I think it was up into 6th or 7th place, somewhere around there, so that's unfortunate for him.
As Brizzy now goes into 7th place with 27.8, but I believe that's going to bring to an end qualifying with no other drivers on a lap, unless the game has glitched on us again. But anyway, it's going to be Absolute then, your pole sitter, as 100% of you said. It's going to be RC8 in 2nd, Vinchu in 3rd, Triple O in 4th, Ace to Sabo is going to be in 5th, GSY Bates in 6th, Brizzy in 7th, Tonio 60 in 8th, Centuri Perina, who managed to get himself up into 9th position there, right at the death. And Alex going to max and round out your top 10. Infamella is going to start just outside the points in 11th place with 3 choice of tyre. Victor in 12th, Hampton is going to line up in 13th, Sabo on the 7th row of the grid. Be very disappointed with that qualifying, I am sure. Our Baku Breath in the 2nd of the Williams cars in 15th. Robert Codfather leads the Haas lineup with himself and Willie Sanka in 16th and 17th respectively. That is going to round out your grid in 18th with Jutsi crashing out and Ellison being disqualified. But it's going to be interesting to see how Jutsi can come back in this race. A very, very capable driver, Natty, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, definitely. And the top 10 will be starting on those soft tyres. Fincher has already done 3 laps on those soft tyres, so he's going to have about, I'd say, about 10-12% wear on his tyres already. And the soft tyres really don't last all that long, maybe 8, 9, possibly 10 laps around this track. So drivers outside the top 10 will have a free choice of tyre, so we'll just have to wait and see what they decide to do.
Yeah, certainly. Let's just enjoy the black Mercedes here with no UI. There we go. Oh, I have to have my black Mercedes fixed for the day. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see once again how these different strategies play out. Obviously, Vinci did manage to get himself up into third, but as you just said, Nat, he's sacrificing his tyre life. Another new thing on this year's game is tyre wear on the formation lap. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers can work with that and who can take the tyres the longest at the moment. But this break in the middle does give us a chance then to have a little look at the chats. Obviously, you see Absolute there on par by 7/10 of a second. That is a statement of intent if ever I've ever seen one, Natty.
Yeah, it's a really good lap from him. 7/10 clear of the rest of the field, and I'm still on a loading screen here, so this is great stuff. Hopefully, my game won't crash, and we can get into the race.
Yeah, certainly. As just looking in the chat, Pierre, and I see you. Yeah, it's a very close field. I think certainly behind Absolute and potentially RC8, it is extremely close. You see all the drivers, well, second to, well, about 11th, all in the same second there. So it could be very interesting. RC8 says his goal is to finish in 9th position to better Tiger's prediction. Well, that was the point of them, to be fair. Despet, Concampion Stad, nice to see you, Peter. Always great to see you in the chat as well. Charles, thank you for the love for the podcast. We do put in a lot of hard work for that. Dutchy saying that Absolute doesn't belong in this in this championship. Well, I think his proof is certainly, his pace, has certainly shown that he should be maybe in a higher up league, but potentially maybe as a replacement driver if someone can't make it in the Super League at some point. Mr. Schumacher, our Academy race winner from yesterday, has said this is going to be a safety car on lap 1. Dan Schneider has seconded that as well. So, Natty, what do you think is going to happen into turn 1 today then?
We'll just have to wait and see. I'm expecting, I reckon a few people might try and go aggressively to the inside, but you know, it's all, if you get a good start and then that lines you up for turn 1, especially if you're on the second or third row potentially. But it's going to be close in the midfield. Obviously, it's a tight apex into the first corner, and should be a really good race.
As we've had Sabbath and Mr. and Hampton already taken out of the formation lap for contact, as RC8 wants to get up into the lead already. He's taken the lead from Absolute on the formation lap. That's a signature Natty move, surely. But yeah, anyway, let's... Oh, there we go. Predicted pit strat 2-stop. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So expect to see drivers coming on lap 7 to 9, and then again it's 16 to 17. Let's try and see here who has gone for which tyre. So everyone outside the top 10, Natty, on those medium tyres.
And interestingly, Jutsi has opted for the hard tyres, so that will enable him to go longer in this race in those hard tyres. And now this safety car might not help him too much, but he'll be able to go good, I'm not sure, maybe 15 to 18 laps into this race on those hards potentially, before he'll come into the mediums or something.
Well, we saw yesterday that there was, all the drivers managed to get through turns 1 and 2 relatively cleanly, but obviously when you're chucking 20 cars at a very, very tight right-hander down at turn 1, things could get a bit messy. But we're going to say up front, if your pole sit to Absolute takes the first pole of his Gavra racing career, and the first pole of the in season 2 of the Freshman League here. Let's see what happens down into turn 1 as this formation that's going to come to an end. So remember, the predicted strategy is a 2-stop coming in after lap 7 and again at lap 14 or 16. Let's see how this one plays out as the drivers pull into their grid slots. As Tonio's now just coming around the final corner. He will be your final car to line up on the grid then. As Infamella actually had 3 choice of tyres as well. Must have got into the top 10 on those mediums. So again, just showing how much pace he potentially has. The last car pulls up into its grid position. We see the predicted pit stop strategy there for a 1-stop lap 13 to 15. Let's go back to the front now for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're going to go to 5 red lights, which the game won't show me. And it's lights out and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Absolutely off to a good start. RC8 didn't seem to have as good a start. We're going to have the Mercedes of Triple O now looking at the inside of the two cars in front of him. Absolute leads into turn 1. Jostling behind for position. No contact just yet. Oh, the McLaren's been hit by the Alfa Romeo. That's Brizzy round. Oh, and Alex for the Mac goes with him. Pandemonium here on the first lap. Got Robert Codfather's off as well. As those people, we've got a virtual safety car straight off the bat. So those people who were predicting a chaotic corners 1 and 2, it looks like you were right. You've got a predicted pit stop strategy coming up again there, as Robert Codfather did not manage to emerge unscathed from lap 1. Kev somehow has managed to get out with no damage whatsoever. RC8 has actually gotten past Absolute somewhere in there as well. So RC8 now leads this race.
Yeah, and Antonio is picking up a 5-second penalty for a collision with Hampton. But yeah, quite a lot of drivers got collected in that turn 1, turn 2 collision. There was I think there was a Renault or a McLaren down the inside of someone, and then there was a little bit of contact, and then one car sent spinning, causing a bit of a chain reaction there, unfortunately.
As Cryptech did manage to predict it right, and we'll say your name is a prediction. God, we're going to go back to green flag racing though now. Absolutely looking to get all over the back of RC8. Got Jitsi kept making his way up through the field as well. Just got past Sabo the Mister. I'm staying up here with your two leaders. 4/10 of a second now. No DRS on this first lap. Let's try and get some telemetry up here as well. We're going to have coming around the final.
Just got past Triple O in the final corner. And Triple O hasn't got the best of exits as Bates is on the grass trying to get past.
Oh, it's RC8 has had what's happened to RC8? He's dropping down the field, but he's still... What has happened here?
Is there a connection issue maybe?
It's saying RC8 is in 16th position, but he's ahead of Absolute.
One. There could be an internet issue maybe potentially with RC8. Obviously I experienced something in the last weekend league as I think there's a game glitch with the leaderboards.
Yeah, so we have no idea who's in what position. Jitsi Kev is...
Just resetting his now. We've got yellow flags to take the Williams of Bates off. And
that's
a racing
big
point
off there.
of Centuri as well.
Oh no. As they're doing synchronized spinning there off the track. But the leaderboards still do seem to be broken here. It's very confusing. It's got Hampton now and then the McLaren going side by side with Dazza. Dazza on the overtake one. He's going to try and send it up the inside into turn 10. What a move by Dazza. Oh, but it hasn't worked out. That Hampton managed to keep it around the outside. Despite that wing damage, again, just showing how much downforce that these cars have now to go wheel to wheel through that corner. Dazza's going to try it again. There's always a little bit of contact. Hampton nudged off the track there. And that's now doing everything he can to try and come back at that Renault, but we have got the gaps have fixed themselves, everybody. So we are back to normal number. Here comes Absolute looking at RC8. Absolute's going to go to the outside line. He's going to go down the outside potentially. He's going to try and get the switch back. Now through turn 2, the turn 2 king up through turn up to towards turn 3 now. It's got the DRS as well. Doesn't use the overtake button though. RC8 still out in front at the moment. They are dropping Vinshudu though by nearly 2 seconds a lap. So absolutely all over the back of the Alfa Romeo. We're seeing something very similar to the Academy League race. We've got yellow sector 1. It's Dazza.
That's a round after the exit of turn 2. Hampton and Edison were battling a little bit, and they didn't get the best of exits through turn 1. And Dazza thought he would have a look around the outside.
Got yellows in sector 1 as well. It's Triple O. Triple O is off.
And Triple O lost it in the same place that Centuri and Bates lost it. I'm not sure if there was contact with anyone. His front wing still seems to be intact, so he might have lost the rear or got the power down a bit too early.
But look at how close Absolute is to RC8 right now. Coming through turn 12. Can he make any sort of a move here? He's riding the back, riding the gearbox of the car in front. Jitsi already up into 10th place after 3 laps. He is cutting through the field like a hot knife through butter. But here comes Absolute. GSY Bates gets past Dazza as well. Yellow's in sector 2 and sector 3. Got a safety car. Victor's had a massive crash. And there's a Ferrari caught up in it as well as Infamella.
And Victor's car, he's hit the back, he's lost the rear at turn 12. Another one of the drivers to lose it at that same corner. And his car's bounced back onto the racing line, and I believe Infamella collected him. Infamella's got half front wing, so I'm sure he'll be.
Look at this, Natty. All of the top three in the pits. As we go to the mediums, as does RCA. This is getting one of their 2 pit stops out of the way early. That means that Willie Sanka now is going to lead the race. Willie Sanka leads here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Jutsikev, after starting in 19th, is in 4th. On those hard tyres, and this has just turned this entire race on its head. Got everyone now out here on the medium tyres. They will all need to make another pit stop there before the end of the race. Triple O has gone to the hards. So
yeah, this is definitely changed the race upside down, as all the drivers who have pitted have gone into either mediums or hard. The hard runners might get to the end. It would be a big stretch, but effectively, Willie Sanka, Al-Baghdad and Hampton are your effective top 3, as everyone needs to make another pit stop.
Yes, certainly. This is a big opportunity for these drivers to score points on their maiden rookie races out here in Bahrain. Got a safety car out on lap 4 for a massive crash involving Victor 90. He is now out of the race after a spin and crash at turn 12. And, well, the freshman league never fails to excite, does it, Natty?
Never, no. We've been given some really great action early on in this race, and if this can provide for the rest of the race and the whole season, which I'm sure it would do, then we're in for a thrilling season.
But let's just take a minute here to stop and talk about Jutsi, who's up 14 positions from his starting point. That is crazy. I'm guessing that's why you put him to win this championship. Currently, his teammate and, well, next race winner, I assume, is Absolute, currently in 6th position. So we have to wait and see how that plays out between the 2 Red Bull drivers. Obviously, safety car at the moment, so no overtaking. As yeah, I guess this just gives us a chance to pause, catch our breath a bit. We'll have a look in the chat as well. Connor Plays Fortnite has said 2 people are on soft tyres. Let's have a look at that. Ah, yes, so GSY Bates and Brizzy then going to the soft tyres. They will definitely be making another stop. Natty, from last season, do you think that mediums can go to the end from here?
It would be a bit of a stretch. I think 20 laps is probably around about the most you can do on a set of mediums. And with 24 laps to go, it's nothing's impossible. But we'll just have to see what some of the drivers do. Obviously, their default strategy was the 2-stop. From soft medium mediums or soft medium, so maybe we'll see the drivers like Bates and Bruzy push a little bit more on those soft tyres, and maybe possibly pit for hards early on, or try and extend those to the medium tyres. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers do. Quite a mix of strategy throughout the whole grid, so
yes,
it's going to be a very interesting safety car restart.
It will be very interesting to see, if Triple O, Infamella, and maybe even Robert Codfather as well, and Sava can make those hard tyres last till the end. 24 laps is a way to go, but if they can make this work, they may have put an absolute blinder here. But still, that Mercedes AMG GT safety car currently leading the pack, but Mylander getting some much needed practice out there, I'm sure.
Contact between Hampton and Al-Baghdad.
As Hampton lets Al-Baghdad go back through, not quite sure what the McLaren was doing there. Obviously, no overtaking under the safety car. Drivers are even now trying to keep some heat in their Hampton's disconnected. Oh no, Hampton is disconnected, and there's a massive loss there from the McLaren team potentially. As all of the drivers now are trying to go past this AI, because this is giving Willie Sanka a bit of a breather now. So he's going to take us through this safety car restart. Safety car should be coming in this lap. We have all of the cars bunched up. Safety car in this lap then. So, Willie Sanka becomes a de facto safety car, ladies and gents. He will be leading us to the green flag. Has to let the safety car go, let it get back into the pit lane, and then he's going to lay down the power and try and get away from our baggy rep as quickly as he can. Where does Willie Sanka decide to go? Safety car coming around the final corner now. It's coming now into the final corner, and he's gone now, Natty, he's gone now. And he has absolutely caught out Baggy Breath sleeping there. Here comes Jutsi now. Look at Jutsi on the back of the Williams already. He's looking to overtake into second place. So goes to the inside line. Can he make this work? Going to ride on board with him now into turn 1. Late on the brakes. Willie Sanka's gone wide. That's going to allow him to be vulnerable to Baggy Breath and Jutsi now. Through turn 2, up through turn 3. Willie Sanka again. Bit of oversteer. Here comes Jutsi. He's going to catch up Baggy Breath napping again. Down the inside. Can he make this work? Under braking. Oh, he sends it on Willie Sanka as well. And up into second place goes Jutsi.
And the RC8 now going side by side with our Baggy Breath. Our Baggy Breath didn't get the best of exits through turns 3 or 4.
Oh, they're both off the track and through goes Absolute.
Late. Absolute's got both of them as Willie Sanka runs wide again, loses the rear a little bit, and Absolute 11 struggling for a rear tyre grip as well.
As Hampton's back.
Rejoined the session.
As RC8's gotten back past Absolute.
Oh no, there's damage for Vincher. Vincher late on the brakes, running into the back of Hampton. He's got some wing damage as Ellison goes down the inside of him there.
He has wing damage as well.
Just before the restart, our Baggy Breath got a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So really unfortunate for him as RC8 gets past Willie Sanka around the outside.
Oh.
That was close between the two drivers. Who's got him as well? Willie Sanka struggling with his
but it's got 2 cars off. That's 2 cars off. Ace de Sabo is off. And the Williams of GSY Bates, 2 cars off at turn 12 again, but well held by Willie Sanka. I do not quite know how he said that. Our Baggy Breath has gone very wide there at the final corner. That could give Willie Sanka a chance to down the main straight. Absolute though is all over RC8. He wants this moved on. He wants that race win. He wants to challenge his teammate for the lead of this race. Oh, he just misses his braking point slightly there through turn 1, through turn 2 now, up the hill towards turn 3, on the overtake button once again. Does have more usable energy than RC8 as well to steal a Formula E phrase. But RC8 goes wide, that's going to give Absolute a chance now into turns 4 and 5. Surely, bit of oversteer just cuts out that move. But these two now, less than a second behind Jutsi. As Triple O picks up a 3-second time penalty, as Tonios has gotten past 2 cars, up into 8th position. We've got yellows in sector 1. Not too sure who that's for.
So Ace de Sabo, I think he's got front left wing damage there. As Infamela, Robert, Cutfather, Bates and Sabo all had wing damage in pit for fresh wing, fresh tyres. Sorry, not Robert Cutfather, Bates and Sabo. And just noticed Sabre lost his wing. It didn't see what happened at the back there, but I believe the yellow flags were for Ace de Sabo.
As RC8 here, flying the lone flag for Alfa Romeo, his teammate Ace de Sabo, down in 15th place. He's fighting the 2 Red Bulls now. The only thing stopping... we've got yellows in sector 2 feet, so Williams of his Baggy Breath. And he's spun at turn 12 now as well. Turn 12 claiming so many people.
The racing points going side by side. The Renault Daza going round the outside of Centuria. Good move from him there through turn 12. And this could allow Triple O to get...
But look at the leaders, Natty. Look at the leaders. All 3 covered by 0.6 of a second now. Here comes RC8 looking at Jutsi. He's going to dart to the outside. Can he go around the outside into turn 1? Later braking. Absolute's looking impatient on the back of his teammate as well. RC8 with a wonderful move gets back up into the lead of the race. As soon as comes Jutsi and Absolute looking at his teammate. Can you get him late braking? It's going to be a Daniel Ricciardo dive bomb up into turn 3. What a move by Absolute. Gets past his teammate on the hard tyres. But obviously, can Jutsi now stick with these 2 and take those hards longer in the race, and they can take those mediums, and potentially Natty goes to the softs at the end?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good move from Absolute. Really late on the brakes, and a late safety car would really help out Jutsi there. Obviously starting on the harder tyre, he can go longer in this race as Bruiser's getting Hampton got past Bruiser there, but Bruiser's going to fight back with the overtake button down into turn 10.
Don't crash, boys. The 2 McLaren teammates not giving each other an inch so far. That's awesome stuff to see. Wouldn't want it any other way. But these top 3 really are gapping the rest of the field. A common theme we seem to be seeing here. Same thing happened in the Academy race yesterday even, last night. And you've got Absolute now all over the back of RC8. This is the closest he's ever been in this sector.
So there's a little bit of contact there between Dazzler and Ace de Sabo. Dazzler tried to go down the inside of Ace de Sabo, didn't quite work for him.
Yeah, it's sector 2. Ellison. But here comes Absolute. I'm not going to take away from this though. Here comes Absolute. He's going to look to the inside, stop the DRS. R6 doesn't defend it too hard. He knew it was coming. And Absolute goes back into the lead of the race then. So from pole, Absolute now leads but can RC8 come back at him through turn 2? A little bit of oversteer there from the Alfa Romeo, but there goes Absolute now up into the lead of the race. Can he gap RC8 and Jutsi and get far enough ahead so he can come in for a pit stop? Oh, as RC8 gets more oversteer, it's going to leave him vulnerable to Jutsi now, already seemingly struggling on those 4-lap hold mediums now.
Yeah, the medium tyres, probably in this game there's a weird phase of after like 2 or 3 laps they're really good, and then for a period of time they'll just feel like, you know, they've been on the car for 30 odd laps, but towards the end of those medium stints he will be a little bit quicker. He's struck. Maybe he's overheated a little bit too much after the safety car restart, pushed a little bit too hard. But we'll just have to wait and see. And something I've noticed is Tonio's has got damage while fighting with Bruzy and Willie Sanka. I'm not sure what happened between those guys, as Hampton's left again, unfortunately.
Yeah, Hampton has just disconnected again. I believe Hampton and Brizzy are actually brothers as well. I believe. I remember that from someone saying that in the academy a few months ago. But anyway, Jutsi now is going to be all over the back of RC8. Jutsi will have DRS, RC8 won't. The gap is half a second here. What can Jutsi do? It's Absolute sets the fast start of the race. He's not messing around tonight, ladies and gents. Here comes, we've got yellows in sector 2. It's a racing point again, but I'm looking at this battle for second now. We've got Absolute and Jutsi going hammer and tong here on lap 10. We haven't even reached the halfway point yet, Natty.
Yeah, it's only lap 10. Hampton's rejoined the session, 19 laps to go. Absolute pulling away from RCA quite a bit actually. The gap now 1.9, now 2 seconds. So he's definitely making the charge on those medium tyres. And for Jutsi on those hard tyres, he really needs to capitalise and get past RCA in order for him to push. Potentially catch up to his teammate, because he still has to make another pit stop.
As look at the Renault, the McLaren and the AlphaTauri here, all going at it very, very hard, as the Vinci had a little bit of oversteer, but here comes Brizzy now, all over the back of Vinci, had a better exit out of turn 6. Turn 17, can he try anything down to turns 8 and 9? Tonio's looking hungry on the back of these two as well. Out of a corner, Brizzy gets a wonderful exit on those soft tyres. The grip advantage giving him what he needs to challenge Hampton for 4th. How's the DRS going to look to the inside? It's going to be late braking, goes down the inside on the Renault, gets the move done. Got yellows in sector 1 now. Who is that? It's Sabo the Mister. And Sabo having a torrid race this evening. Down in 19th place, and they have another spin there at turn 2. As I have no interval gaps again.
Yeah, the same thing's happened to me, but Vinci still has that wing damage, and when he hit the back of
but look at Tonio's!
Tonio's diving it down the inside of the final corner. He's also got no front right impact damage, so both the drivers gliding throughout this race, but Vinci overtake button at the DRS, the slipstream moving to the inside line.
Bit of contact.
A little bit of contact between the two, but they're still side by side. A little bit of wheel banging through turns 2. So they're going to remain side by side up the straight. Vinci going to have the advantage from now, but Tonio's decides not to go for any late dive bombs. As
all this is allowing to do is it's allowing Brizzy now to get away and try and do his best to close that gap down to Jutsi Kev in front, who's currently just about staying within touching range of RC8. There's absolutely flying out in front, if you'll pardon the pun, as Willie Sanka now has pitted and gone onto the hard tyre. So that is a lot earlier than we were expecting, Natty.
Yeah, the hard tyre, I would think the hard tyre would be capable of the remaining 18 laps on this race. He's currently sat in 14th place, and looking at the intervals, after a few of the other drivers pit, I'm sure he'll move up to around somewhere in the midfield as Vinci runs wide through turn 11, I think that is, and that's allowed Tonio's to go through.
As Willie Sankovan has pulled the plug for the people who started this race on those medium tyres, and they should be coming into the pits and try and cover him off, because he's going to have much fresher tyres. He can push on now and try and get as far up the field as possible. Already closing that gap to Intermediate in front. Must be said, Willie Sankovan stands an incredibly good chance of at least scoring points here today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Tonio's, I guess, caught up to Bruzy a little bit on the final sector, but then lost a little bit of time on the straight. It's a Ferrari in front of them.
Bruzy's gone
really
off!
Under the brake, really off turn 1. That could allow Tonio's to get a really good run off into turn 3.
As look, with the best seat in the house sitting on Vinci's POV, Tonio's not close enough to have a look at Brizzy into turn 3, but he's gone wide again. That could give Tonios an advantage now into turns 4 and 5. Can't do anything with it there, but Triple O has gone past Hampton, who I believe is AI at the moment. The two Mercedes then hunting as a pack.
Yeah, and just having a look at the ERS, Tonios doesn't have a lot of ERS to play with, only 13% compared to Bruce's 40, and Vincher has 87% of his ERS to use, so he can definitely push a little bit harder on the straights compared to the two guys in front. But those soft tyres on the McLaren are going to be dropping off in a couple of laps time, I would imagine, so it's not going to be too long until we see him pit potentially.
Well, I think what just happened at turn 1 shows exactly that. RC8 has disconnected from second place, and that is hugely unfortunate. There is going to be fresh meat now for Jitsi Kev, surely. As you can see, the red X above his name, reading that he has disconnected. Tonios has got past Bridge, but Bridge is coming back at him now down the inside. Can he make the move work? No, the AlphaTauri keeps it around the outside. Beautifully defended there from the AlphaTauri. But as you just said, Natalie, Brizzy is in, Brizzy's in, off of those soft tyres. Probably go to a set of mediums. He should take him to the end of the race.
Yeah, he does come into the pit. What tyre does he pit for? He's on the medium car, the yellow stripe medium. So he should go into the. He should be going to the end of the race. But it'll be interesting to see how many other people pit around him.
As I think Hampton's AI nearly set itself into the shadow around there. We've got Vinci now all over the back of Tonios now, actually coming up into turn 3. Wasn't able to make anything of it just yet. As Brizzy filters back out in 12th place now. Only 2 places ahead of Willie Sank, who must be said is being held up a bit by the Ferrari in front of Infinite. Let's go down and check that battle out then for 14th place. Willie Sank needs to make this position up fast if he wants to have any chance of scoring points here today. Oh, as Infinite locks up, so does Sanka into turn 3. Oh, massive oversteer there from the Hats. And now down into turns 5 and 6. Infinite doesn't make any mistakes. Willie Sanka still all over the back of that car in front. Can he make anything work in the second DRS zone around this track? Currently this is the closest battle we have out on track. Oh, little lock up there we just heard from the Hats as well. It looks like Willie Sanka now just dropping back again a little bit, maybe to conserve those tyres, just overheating them a little bit behind and in the dirty air of the Ferrari in front. Yellow Doug sector 2 and 3, got another car off.
It's for the Williams about baggy breath.
Again,
he's got
as Tonios is in. Tonios is in as well.
Tonios pitting, so he's reacting to the earlier stop from Bruzy onto the mediums. He's also going into the mediums and getting that front wing change. That's going to cost him about 5 times on top of the hards. So we've got yellow flag to sector 2 again. It's the racing points of, I believe, Ellison.
Ellison, another driver, he seems to having a really bad race. Got another safety car. Willie Sanka, no! Willie Sanka is out of the race. That is bitterly, bitterly disappointing to just see his car there on the inside of the final corner. Just spun out and crashed into the wall, and well, so that's
Alex Mack, it's like a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. So he's gone in P5, and that's going to ruin his.
And that is huge. But Natty, do you know what this has done? I think we're about to see Absolute and Jutsi in a bit of a role reversal here, because Absolute now must be thinking about coming in for those hard tyres. Jutsi must be thinking about those mediums. We could have Jutsi on the just do the double stack. He knows. He's watching the commentary. He's listening. And, as Absolute's now in the pit box, here comes Jutsi. Will this double stack work then? Absolute is away. Jutsi's just come into the pit lane now. Oh, beautiful stop there from the Red Bull crew as Jutsi Kev gets in just behind Absolute. Beautifully choreographed there from the Red Bull guys.
And also, it's going to be interesting to see where Brucey and Tonios come out in respective to Vincher. Because obviously we saw them pit before the safety car, and Vincher stayed out a few laps on those medium tyres, so he's into the pits now. Obviously, I'm sure we'll see a lot of the drivers pit as the two Mercs pit. Ace Sabo stays out on those 10-lap mediums.
That is very interesting. Must be thinking he can go to the end then, maybe, on those. I didn't want to compromise RC8, his teammate, coming in there either. As we had another massive upset here in this Bahrain Grand Prix. So Absolute does still lead the way, but Jutsi now doesn't have to worry about closing that 5-second gap, Natty. The safety car's done it for him.
And also remembering RC8 is still in AI, I believe. He still has that red X over his name, so
that is something I was trying to...
a little bit for the other drivers.
As you've got Savin and Mister as well. And Jutsi doing something he shouldn't really be doing. You're not meant to go into your AI under the safety car. So whether the students will have a look at that. Oh, RC8's back! He's just been given the lifeline to end all other lifelines. As currently under the safety car, on fresh hard tyres, doesn't have to worry about tyre wear as much as the two in front of him. But RC8 is back, ladies and gents. We're going to have a 3-way scrap.
Yeah, that should make things even more interesting, as Ace Sabo now has picked up a penalty for speeding under the safety car. So both him and Alex Gunnermack have got penalties which they will need to serve. So that went brutally. And the likes of Tonio's Vinja up a few positions as well. But Alex Gunnermack onto the soft tyres.
That is bold.
So soft tyres, I'm not sure 14 laps is going to...
Well, we saw...
Jutsy's been given a 5-second penalty for a collision with RC8.
Oh no! As RC8 has overtaken Jutsi now on the safety car there, it looks like. How has that happened then?
Potentially his AI lagged when he joined, because I had a similar thing in Austria, if you remember, when I disconnected the first time. When I joined back, the game gives you the 5 red lights before you take control. So maybe that's when RC8 got in front of Jutsi. But there is a car in between RC8 and Absolute 11. It's the lap car of Sabre the Lister and Ferrari, so he'll be trying to get out of the way as soon as possible.
As we could have the safety car for a few more laps. Ellison, who's currently your last place car in this queue, because don't forget Sabo is currently the second car on track because he's a lapped car. But Ellison only just coming into the... Oh, it's Triple O picks up another 3-second time penalty for cutting turn 2 there. But Ellison only coming through turn 12 now. The safety car queue, Natty's in turn 6.
Yeah, so people like Ellison and Daz are really going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. The safety car should stay out for an extra lap or two, as there's quite a lot of tyre markings down at turn 7 from some of the turn 8 or so. Well, some of the drivers have been locking up a fair few times. But
I'd imagine there's tons at turn 12.
With I'd say about 12, maybe 11 laps to go in the race when the safety car comes in, it's going to be effectively a sprint to the end. We shouldn't see many more pit stops, but it's going to be interesting to see how Alex Gunnermack's going to perform on those soft tyres.
As once again, this league never fails to disappoint when it comes to the action. I'm going to have a look at this. Who do you think will win tonight, though? As 62% of you then have said Absolute to take the win, with 31% saying Jutsi and only 6% saying RC8. So, let's see how this plays out. I agree, Charles Leclerc. What a race. As my brother has just voted for RC8, so there you go, RC8, you got a fan. As Piero has said, I mean, if Sabo can win this race, that surely must go down as one of the greatest comeback drives in history if he does that. Joe called it with another safety car. Yeah, as I just said, Charles Leclerc, I agree with you. Woozy, you have missed a lot, my friend. You really have. If you can, rewind the stream to the beginning, because you will definitely be in for a treat.
Yeah, similar events to what happened last season, as Robert Codfather is actually coming to the pits on his hard tyres, so he's going to drop down to
last.
16th.
Oh no, not yeah. He's going to drop down now. Going to go to the medium tyres then. So pitting under the safety car to get those fresher tyres. But we'll need to catch up to the queue. We will be able to catch up to the queue, and on those fresh tyres, can he take it to the cars in front? Alex Gunnermack, I'm not sure about that strategy. In fact, has he been forced onto that because he's run out of tyres? Let me have a look. No, he's run out of tyres, so that move to the softs, that's a that might be a bit early, but this does give us a chance to have a look at penalties. So, Absolute running with no penalties. RC8 is on his final warning, so he has to be careful not to cut any corners. Jutsi gave us that 5-second time penalty, obviously, from before. If he does make another pit stop, though, that will be written off. Ace to Sabo has got 2 penalties, and is on his final warning for a 3rd. Brizzy running with no penalties whatsoever. Good to see all these drivers keeping it clean here. Tony to the 5-second penalty from lap 1. So how was that? He's got another one for speeding under the safety car recently. Vinch2 also on his final warning, but with a 5-second time penalty. Alex Gunner Max had 2 drive-throughs, but was only on his first warning. Triple O has had 2 penalties and is on his first warning for a final one. And Hampton, check really quickly, all of these drivers seem to have 5-second time penalties at the start. Not sure what happened there. Must have been that crash at turn 1. But Hampton also running with no corner cutting penalties.
As the safety car is in this lap, Absolute 11 backing up the field. He does have a car in between himself and RC8, so he's going to have a little bit of an advantage off the safety car restart. Sabo will have to try and get out of the way as quick as he can, but it's going to be when Absolute 11 goes and what the gap will be to RC8, who will capitalise from the safety car.
Yeah, as Absolute 11 once again becomes a safety car, and he's gone very early then. He's caught RC8 on the back foot completely. Jutsy's just picked up that time penalty now as well. He's going to be pushing RC8 now all the way down the straight. That's right on board of the Red Bull. RC8 pulling away in a straight line. Must be running virtually no wing on that car. Sabo here needs to jump out of the way fairly quickly with all of these cars behind him. Don't forget, ladies and gents, he is a lapped car. You can see there in 80. Oh, he's going to spin! Well, I did say I had to get out of the way very quickly, but I'm sure he wasn't hoping it to be like that. Alex Gunner Max going to let Triple O go here. They're on different strategies between Mercedes. Has to be careful he doesn't get collected by another car, though, as Sabo has retired from the race. And not really surprising, a torrid affair for him. Tonight, GS5 Bates makes his way past this Ferrari teammate of Infamella. As we've got yellows in sector 1, that is Sabo's retiring car. Infamella there manages to hold on.
Bruzy and Ace Sabo have been going side by side through the entirety of the SS section. Bruzy managed to get out in front, but in terms of constructors, it's looking really good for the Red Bull team, running 1-2 in this race. As Jutsi got past RC8 down in turn 3, down the inside, and already a 3-second gap between 3rd and 4th. So these guys are the height up of the top 10 have been ironing quite a fair bit after this restart, as Vincher all over the back of Ace Sabo. I thought he was going to go down the inside in turn 11, but as he goes down the inside of turn 12, actually, Vincher down the inside of the McLaren who ran wide.
Oh, but he's just moved to cover up Tonio's!
Tonio's capitalising on this quite a bit, actually, as he goes down the inside. Ace Sabo picks up a penalty for the final corner.
But Vinch2 goes wide. It's not just to compound the issue. But he's going to be coming back at Tonios now, all the way down the main straight with DRS. Tonios goes defensive. Vinci goes to the inside line to get past the Alpha Tauri. Late breaking into turn 1. Makes the move work. No, he doesn't, because here comes Tonios. Back round the outside, turns to the inside for turn 2. And he keeps that 5th position. Great driving there from these two. Really, really going at it. As Triple O, Alex Gunner Mac and Ace Sabo all in the pits. That must be for their drive-throughs. That must be for the drive-throughs under the safety car.
Yeah, I noticed Alex Gunner Mac just went straight through his pit box, but Ace Sabo changed the front wing and put on the hard tyres, so picked up some wing damage. I didn't see when or where.
That guy Casto says, definitely a Vettel fan. Got yellows in sector 2. That's a Williams. That Bates off again. No, it's Al Bagubrev. Oh, sorry, it was Bates. It was Bates. He spun off there at turn 6. As turning into quite an unfortunate race for the two Williams teams, but Absolute now out in front with a commanding lead over Jutsi, 3.2 seconds already, just 2 laps after that safety car restart. But look at Tonios now over the back of Brizzy still. These 3 have all been battling for 4th place, seemingly since the beginning of time. It's been going on for that long. They've dropped Vinci a bit. There goes Dazza at turn 12 again. And that's DRS enabled now, but we've got Ellison and Robert Codfather now going at it for 11th place. Ellison getting past the Haas. Later on the brakes, and that Haas goes a bit wide. Got yellows. Oh, and that's a Ferrari. That's Infamella. Infamella spins off and manages to avoid the barrier, unlike Willie Sanka did earlier on in the race. But here comes Ellison looking at the back of our back. He's laid so much later on the brakes than the Williams, as points could still be on the cards here for the Haas team. Something that the Willie Sanko and Robert Codfather partnership didn't manage to do last season. Could they start this season off straight away with getting points on the board?
So we'll have to wait and see. Robert Codfather being on those medium tyres as Tonios and Brucey going down it again. Brucey going down the inside of Tonios. Down in turn 8, I think, or turn 9. Turn 8, I think that is actually. But he's going to have to
Oh, that is a big retirement. I've got another safety car. An absolute lead that he just worked his socks off to build up has now been knocked down back to nothing again. And now there's nothing in between.
Looking at where Alex Gunn and Max car is on the track, I'm curious to see what happened to him. He's all the way off on the other side of the track, so whether he forgot to brake or something, not quite sure.
I'm sure Alex Gunn and Matt will be able to get either back to us or Gavra about that. Gypsy Pits
into the pits. RC8's following him in.
That's going to be to serve their 5-second time penalties. They will go to the soft tyre. Has absolutely been caught out here. Brucey's going to go up into second place. Tonios pits. Vince 2 pits. Everyone's coming in. Tunturi stays out. Hampton stays out. Ellison stays out as well. Infamella stays out. Robert Codfather's going to be in the points bank. No, he comes in the pits. So these drivers then, obviously feeling that their tyres could make it to the end. Jitsi, I'm sure, wanted to just be rid of that 5-second time penalty, but has dropped him down now into 9th. As this race has just been turned on its head again. The running order completely changed here again. As was it the best move by Jitsi to give up track position, do you think, Natty, for those precious soft tyres and to get rid of that 5-second penalty?
Well, he's on those fresh softs compared to everyone's 6-7 lap hold mediums and hards, so he's definitely going to have the pace advantage. Bahrain, not too much of a difficult track to overtake on. Obviously, there's 4 different straights with 3 of them with the DRS enabled, or the DRS is able to use in those 3 straights, so he's definitely going to have the chances. But whether he's going to be able to pull off those 7 moves that he's lost in the pit lane, he's got RC8 in front of him on 11 lap hold hards. It's going to be quite the job. It's going to be similar to Lewis Hamilton working his way through the field in Monza, but he's going to have to work hard to finish back up on the podium.
Well, yeah, definitely not. As they come past the line this time, they're going to have 7 laps to go. Jitsi's going to need to seriously step on it here, as RC8, despite coming into the pits, hasn't changed tyres, Natty. Still out there on 11 lap old mediums, it says here up on my screen.
Yeah, so maybe he had a drive-through or something. I wasn't. I didn't see he had a drive-through. But I'll have a quick check now at the penalties. No, I didn't have a drive-through, so.
As I feel like absolutely might be paying Alex Gundermack a visit after this race. I'm sure his nerves must be absolutely frayed already. It's about to get even worse for this safety car restart. We should hopefully be able to get back to green flag racing this lap. So let's take you through your top 10 at the moment then. So it's absolute in the lead. Brazil in second. Centuri works their podium positions in third. Hampton is fourth. Ellison is fifth. Infamella is sixth. Daza is 7th, RC8 is in 8th, fittingly enough. Jitsi is in 9th, Tonios rounds out your top 10. Vinchu, it's Vinchu's hits the back of Tonios! And he's given the 5-second time penalty.
Unfortunate for those guys, but the ones who have gained massively out of this race, Ellison up 14 places, Daz and Tonios both up 10, so a really good race from those guys. Obviously Ellison stayed out under the safety car, so that's really helped him and some of the other guys, but so those guys in the fresh softs are really going to have a massive impact.
Yeah, as Daz, Tonios and Ellison, your 3 biggest movers and shakers. Ellison up 14 positions from where he started at the moment. Vinci has got heavy damage on the front left of that Renault. We'll probably want to be pitting for that.
We'll have to wait and see whether the safety car will be in this lap. If it's not in this lap, then he will have the opportunity to pit and try and find the time back up, but really unfortunate for him. safety car does come into this lap.
We should have the safety car on the side. We've got a bruh moment in the chat so far. I think if Dan Schneider said if Absolute crashes, it will be a monster.
The safety car is
in this lap then. So Absolute 11 is going to become the de facto safety car once again. He controls the pace in this final sector then. Backing the field up here as Infamella has overtaken someone. He'll be wanting to give that back fairly quickly as Absolute has slowed the pace to an absolute halt here. He is waiting now for the safety car to come back into the pits before he goes. He's gone now, Natty.
And away Absolute goes to start lap 23, so only 6 laps to go here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's going to be a 6-lap sprint to the end, but there's actually been a bit of a gap formed between Bruzy and Tinturi, and Absolute's got away well. He's not challenged into turn 1.
Absolute there seems to have mastered these restarts completely.
Goes for a late dive down the inside of RC8.
Oh, he knows he has to make this. Oh, there's contact! And Jizzy gets pushed up onto the curb, and he's got the move done, but no, here comes RC8 back round the outside. Lower wings on that Alfa Romeo, but Jizzy gets it on the braking. He's going to get the Renault as well of Dazza. What a move there by Jizzy. Beautiful driving there.
And Dazza's also picked up wing damage. It's really close between Jizzy and Infamella. Jizzy going for the
but there goes Dazza down the inside. But Jizzy gets them both. RC8 has wing damage. RC8 wing damage. But Jizzy, beautiful opportunistic driving there. Up into 6th place. Make that 5th. Make that 4th. There goes Jizzy. With a double overtake on the 2 Racing Point drives off. They both make a mistake.
Ellison looks for the inside after Tinturi lost the rear a little bit through turn 11, through turn 10. But now this has been a really good restart for Jizzy. Just what he wants. He needs to get through these.
Oh, but here comes Tonio now down the inside of Infamella.
Jizzy's going down the inside of Hampton. He's up back already up to the podium. Alistair Sabo span at turn 11. We've got more yellow flags. I'm not sure that will be a safety car. He's been able to turn the car around. But what a restart!
What a lap by Jizzy that he has just put in the fastest final sector as well. That is very odd.
The car, maybe?
As I believe he's had a disconnection of some sort, but Jizzy now. Let's see what he can do, Natty. 1.5 seconds to Brizzy in front. About 4 seconds. Virtual safety car.
So that could have been caused by Triple O's incident down at the final corner. It looked to be retiring the car. He'll probably get disqualified soon for a
there you go.
From the dangerous location. There we have it. But this virtual safety car allows the likes of Jizzy to save some of his DRS and some of his fuel that is really burnt off in the few laps. As Triple O was disqualified, Hampton's been given a penalty for speeding under the VSC. He's currently got his overtake button on, so maybe not the smartest move from him having his overtake button on under the virtual safety car. But another little break in this race for us.
Yeah. This could be a godsend. I've got my camera on him now. This could be an absolute godsend for Absolute, though, denying his teammate the time that he needs to make up that gap. But Jizzy now, all over the back. Obviously, it's the driver's prerogative as to how close they run the delta for the virtual safety car. So let's say Absolute might be running it to about 2 tenths, with Jizzy's giving that delta a second. As Al-Baghdad had a drive-through penalty now, we're going to have a VSC coming to an end. What has happened?
So, but Hampton has had some sort of issue. He was going really slowly on the straight. He's disconnected again.
Oh, that's his AI.
I was on board with Ellison. He almost rear-ended Hampton's AI as Hampton's AI pits.
Yeah, and that's going to doom his race. Back with 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for his drive-through there. Jizzy now, he's half a second behind the McLaren already. Let's ride on board with this. I can feel something special coming soon. Here comes Jizzy now up into turn 3. Looks like the Apex better than the McLaren. Look at the traction he has compared to the aged medium tyres on the McLaren. He's got so much more grip. He's just waiting to make the move here. Can he send it into turn 6? Chooses not to, but Brizzy's had a bad exit there. Here comes Jizzy around the outside. He's got him. He's got Brizzy. Jizzy into second place. Can he get Absolute? 4 laps to go here. 4 laps to go. 4 seconds.
It's a seconds a lap. But anything is possible in F1, especially in the freshman league. We saw a really fun end to the race last season, and it's exactly the same thing that's happened this season.
As my eyes going to be glued to the screen for that gap, I'm going to come back down into GSY Bates, who's all over the back of Tunturi as well. Tunturi has had an absolute horrible restart, was running in third, now running down in seventh, but look who's in the points, Natty, it's Robert Codfather!
As there's contact between Bates and Tunturi. Bates lost a little bit of his end plate running into the back of him through turn 11, but he's got the overtake button engaged. He pulls over to the inside. Edison picks up a 3-second time penalty, goes down the inside, a little bit of wheel banging from the two, but he makes the move up into 7th place.
As Tonio's just in the fast lap of the race then, but here comes Jutz. He's already closed the gap to 3.7 seconds. He needs more than that. He's not doing enough to catch Absolute at the moment. This is still be an incredible recovery drive though, if he can make it. Antonio's now also closing in on Brizzy for P3, so that fight's not over yet. GSY Bates now in the pits for a front wing change. Oh no, that's going to put Robert Cosbar up to 8th place. RC8 for 28.7. That nearly matches his qualifying lap, surely. Really pushing on the Alfa Romeo now, trying his best to close up to the back of Robert Codfather. And this race has gone from very good to very, very bad for RC8. Was leading this race at one point, now finds himself down in the lower echelons of the points. But Baku Breath now moves up ahead of Hampton, whose AI is coming to the pits again. Oh, he's back though now.
As Hampton rejoined the session, Jutsi and Tonios have both made up 16 positions in this race, starting from the back end of the grid. Edison gaining 14 positions as well, so it's been a really good drive from those three drivers, as Jutsi has actually set the fastest second sector of anyone, so he's really pushing on those soft tyres. 3 laps to go, sorry. I
was about to say next to that gap, 2.9 seconds now, he's pushing on 2.9 seconds still. It's going to come across the line. Can he catch his teammate? He can see him as you ride on board, he can see, he can taste the victory. He's weaving to warm up his tyres, but you can see his teammate in front of him. He's going to be pushing on, that's all the motivation he needs to go up there and win this race. Tonios and Brizzy, I think Holland Campion, you mentioned this battle was happening down in the pack. Here comes Tonios around the outside, gets the inside for turn 2 and up into 3rd position. Wonderful driving there from Tonios. Can he try and get after Jutsi? Absolutely, potentially if there's a crash here between the two Red Bull teammates, Tonios could be on for the win here, and we could have, we could actually have a Monza podium with an Alpha Tauri winning, a McLaren in 2nd and a Racing Point in 3rd.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jutsi, I've just had a quick check. He's got a 3-second time penalty, so he's now got a 6-second time penalty compared to Absolute's 0-second time penalty. So that currently puts Jutsi down in 3rd place if Tonio has no penalties. I'll just quickly check Tonio's penalties, as Tonios has got a fair few penalties. So as it stands, Absolute 11 is still going to lead this race on penalties, but it's whether Jutsi can keep it clean for the remaining laps in this race.
As Jutsi, once again, it's kind of, he gains those 5/10 and the gap kind of hovers around that 2.5 second gap. He's just not able to make enough of an impression on his teammate as we're about to start the penultimate lap of the race. He needs 1.3 seconds a lap now, so he's currently not doing enough. He needs to push on here if he wants to win this race. Regardless, 2nd would still be an incredible comeback from where he started, but Jutsi now really needs to get on with it.
Yeah, definitely. Those soft tyres are probably fading away from him a little bit. 6 lap hold softs, they're probably coming to the end of their stint near enough. Only 2 or 3 laps of pure tyre life left in them. But for drivers like Brizzy and Edison, they're on really old mediums.
Oh, Baku Breath had another spin.
It was a spin from our Baku Breath, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and Scott Vinci now on the back of GSY Bates as well. I'm going to come back up here towards the front of the grid, because Hampton has joined back, but he's he'll be very disappointed with his AI's strategy decisions, I am sure. RC8 though has closed 10 seconds in 2 laps to Robert Codfather in front, so that could still be a very interesting battle down there for 8th place. GSY Bates and Vinci now going at it, as Absolute is currently halfway around this lap. Here comes Vinci and Absolute, GSY Bates, and Bates is going to have the DRS here. And it looks inside, Vinci goes defensive. Here comes Bates, and neither driver has DRS actually. Here comes Bates around the outside. Oh, there's contact in the braking zone, as Vinci just keeps that position, it looks like. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer there from the Williams as well. But this has been a mad race. And in the driver poll, vote for the driver of the day, Jitsi currently 58% of that vote. But here comes Bates now back up the Renault. Vinci just about keeps ahead. A little bit of oversteer from the Williams as well. As absolutely has now started his final lap. He's got 2.4 seconds now on Jutsi. Just needs to keep it calm, no mistakes, get to the end of the race, and he should be in a good shape to win this now.
Yeah, definitely, and it's been a really good race from both Jutsi and Absolute from when they pitted and from where compared to where they started. They started towards the back of the grid, worked their way up to the top, and then pitted with soft tyres, and have done really well to get themselves up into second and third. But another man who's done really well, Absolute 11, he's had to defend his lead and work for it, a battle with RCA and Jutsi. So it's been a good race from well, pretty much everyone here today. Great battles throughout the field, and I looking forward to the entire season.
As if Tonius doesn't have many penalties, you could see him jump Jutsi at the line, but it's Absolute then leading a Renault 1-2 at the moment. A few more corners left to go. Going to stay with Absolute through the final sector here, just put some extra pressure on him. I'm joking, but coming through turn 13 now, no dramas for the Red Bull driver. He's got a short shift to fourth on the final lap. One corner left between him and victory. He's already weaving. He's already celebrating. I think he knows it. Jitsi's backed off, the gap's now 3.1 seconds. Absolute rounds the final corner then, and barring anything horrible, Absolute is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix, and what a race that was. Jitsi Kev rounds off a Red Bull 1-2, astonishing drive from Antonios, keeps in the Red Bull Junior program 1-2-3 in the AlphaTauri in third. Bruzzi will be disappointed to lose that podium position. He's going to round out in fourth. Ellison in fifth. A very good recovery drive from Ellison. Infamela in sixth after starting out of the points as well. Tunturi as well. Very good, and keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen, for Robert Codfather, who's being put under pressure by RCA. Robert Codfather out to the line. Here comes RCA. Can he make it work? RCA gets it on the line. RCA gets into 8th place on the line.
Bates and Hampton.
Oh no!
There's been a massive crash. Hampton and Bates, I can't remember which one was down the inside, but those two are battling, and then there was a bit of lag, and then one car got a bit of air there, and that drops Bates down to last place.
Wow. Well, I've said this over and over again, the championship never fails to disappoint, but can I just have a minute to realise Robert Codfather up in P9, 0 points between him and for Willie Sanker in the Premier Series last season. This season, 2 points on the board already. Very happy for those two. And what could have been if Willie Sanker had stayed in the race as well and hadn't unfortunately spun out the first corner. But Absolute is going to be your race winner today and your championship leader.
What a race. What a race. Wow, that was just as good, if not better, than last season. The entire race full of drama. We had about, what's that, 2 or 3 safety cars?
Something like that.
Safety car.
As Jitsi Kev there then, winning the driver of the day vote amongst the fans. Tonios gets it. The game gives it to Tonios, however. 41 people still watching, 328 comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. I mean, there will also be on the Gavra Racing YouTube as well in a couple of days' time. I'm sure that the admin team will be working on that as quickly as they can, but thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again next week as well, just to take you through your top 10 then. So Absolute wins the race. Jitsi Kevin second, Brizzy in third, Tonios in fourth, Infamela in fifth, Edison in sixth, Tunturi Perina in seventh, RCA is in 8th, Robert Codfather 9th, Dazza will round out your top 10. In 10th position, Hampton in 11th, Vinstu in 12th, Ace Sabra in 13th, Al-Baghi in 14th, Jiswai Bates in 15th, and your first for your non-finishers, Alex Gunnar Mack with this very strange time there towards the end of the race. At the final corner, Stabber the Mister in 17th, Willie Sanker, what could have been had he stayed in the race and not crashed out at the final corner. Victor 90 will finish in 19th under DNF, and Triple O, again, another driver with a very, very strange dropout there. He will round out your grid in 20th. But what a race that was. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Thank you to all of the drivers. You can all take a bow. You've given us a great show this evening. And we do, well, not exactly the same thing tomorrow, but back again at 9:30 Central Eastern Time and 8:30 British Summer Time. It is the Premier Series Round 1, which will be kicking off in Australia, which, Natty, you are racing in.
Yeah, and well, if it's anything like this race and the Academy, it hopefully should be a great race at Melbourne Park in Australia. But yeah, Chinese Grand Prix next week in terms of the freshmen, and I'm looking forward to that as much as this week.
Yeah, definitely. I think this race has shown us this championship is going to be, as last season, a bit of a corker. As thank you to everyone for joining us. Thanks to all of your comments in the chat. It's great to see that engagement of the community and us. We try and look at the chat and look at what's going on the screen as much as we can. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Big thanks to Gav as well for organising this and allowing us to go racing. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, make sure to tune in for next week. I'm sure it will be just as crazy. But we're going to see you all later on.